Hey, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to all my cloud scholars out there. My name is Kieran Tross, and we are continuing with our series within a series. So this whole thing that I'm doing right now this year is the Azure Terraform for beginners. And this series, within that series, is creating a virtual machine. So this would be part 4. I'm going to try and break this down. I don't want to do a part 5, but I'm going to try my best to try to keep it within 25 minutes. But I do have a lot that I'm going to cover here, and it can get really complex. But if you do it over and over, it actually is pretty simple. But the first time looking at it, it can be a little bit complex and a little bit hard to digest at first. So what we're going to be doing is we're creating a virtual machine, which we already did in the last one, excuse me. And I have the code up here. Hopefully, as you were following on the last video, you got to the same point that I'm at. And what we did was we locked it down so that this way you can only remote in from certain IP addresses, which would be our client's IP address, aka our own IP address. But what we want to do is, in this code, the problem is we have this admin username isn't really too bad, but we really don't want to have the password there, right? So how do we now go about doing it in a way so that we don't have to worry about having the password in our code, so that if anybody does see it, they know the password to get into our VM. So I'm back over at the Terraform page right now, and if you would, all you have to do is type in Azure Terraform Key Vaults, and you would get to this page, or Key Vault Secret, I should say, and you would get to this page. Now you can go to Key Vault, and it'll give you the code for the Key Vault, but let's just go to Key Vault Secret, because this is going to be everything that we need for our Azure page. So what we're going to do is we have the Azure RM provided as always. We have this data, Azure client config. I'm going to explain that a little bit later. And then we're also going to have to get this Azure Key Vault example code here, and then the Key Vault secret. So what I'm going to do is I need to copy this code, and then I need to go back over to my Terraform, and let's go break this code line by line. So we do not have a page for our Key Vault. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a new file, and then I'm just going to call it keyvault.tf. I'm just going to come down a little bit because I want to put something else on the top here. I'm going to go back over to Terraform. I'm going to take this, come back. Then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to come down here at the bottom. Okay, so let's talk through it. So we're going to create a new Key Vault. And remember, our Key Vaults, things like storage accounts, they have to have a unique name. So there are different ways of doing names, so we could do some string interpolation and some randomization with those names. But I really haven't gotten to that point yet within this series. So I'm just going to keep it simple because I just want to make sure that you're able to digest this set of information. And then later videos, I'm going to talk about how we can go about setting things up. If you're going to do like 15 to 20 Key Vaults, you need to set up your environment, and you want to randomize the names as well. I'm going to show you how to do that. But for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to do something like key VLT scholars 908, right? So I'm just making something up as I go. And I'm going to come here. I'm going to do the same name. So over here, what we're going to do is we're going to do a local.location. Hopefully you've been following along. If you have another resource group name, you can throw it in there as well. I'm going to do a local.resource group. Tenant ID, this stays the same. So the reason why this has data, the Azure RM client config.current.tenant ID, and throughout this series, we haven't really done anything that had data dot. It was always been resource dot, etc., etc., etc. So what exactly is the data doing? Okay, so we're talking about data sources. Normally we've been using resources. So data sources allow Terraform to use information defined outside of Terraform, defined by another separate Terraform configuration, or modified by a function. So basically what we're doing is we're telling Azure, we're doing Terraform like, hey, you need to grab this information from a resource and you need to apply it to this configuration that we have here. And then you go about modifying or doing whatever you need to do within it. Now, I just said a lot, but it will make more sense as we go through the code. And then we also have resources, which what we've been dealing with most of the time is resource is something that will be created by and controlled by the script, with the script meaning your Terraform code. Okay, so we have this data up here, data Azure RM client config, current config. So what this is saying is, okay, we are taking your current, it's an open block basically, and it's saying, open line of code is saying, okay, we're going to use this current here because we want to grab what's current within your organization, such as the tenant ID, because we're creating this Azure Key Vault, but we also need to make sure that we're given access to Terraform to as an access policy. So tenant ID, data, the Azure RM client config right here, and then current.tenant ID. So what we could have done, which is wrong though, is we can put our tenant ID information in here in the access policy. But we really don't want to go ahead and do that. That's why we have this open block of code to capture all that information. If we continue going further down, here we can see the access policy. Now within Azure Key Vaults, there are access policies. If you don't really know too much about Azure Key Vaults you really have for, your different permissions, right? So you can have secrets, you can have keys and stuff like that within your Key Vaults. So over here we have our different options. So let me jump over to the Azure, the Terraform page so you can see what I'm talking about. So over here, you see, when we go to Azure Key Vault, we went originally to Azure Key Vault Secret, but here you have key permissions, you have secret permissions, and you have some storage permissions that you can enable for your Azure Key Vault. So there's a lot of different things we can use for Key Vaults. I have a video talking about Key Vaults. We're not really going to jump into that right now. What we really want to focus more on is the secret permissions. So I'm going to jump back over here, and we can see there's different secret permissions that we can set. So we have set, get, delete, purge, and recover. And if I come down here, you see down here, this is some of the stuff that's required. Key Vault ID, content type is not, but there are other attributes that you can reference for your Azure Key Vault secrets, and then also your Azure secrets. So we don't need all this information. So I can just do a set and get, and I should be fine for that. So we're good in this section here. Now the SKU name, we don't need it as premium. We're going to do standard, save on cost. Let's make sure that I have that written out right. So I'm going to come back up here to Azure Key Vault, and let's see what we have for options for SKU. So we have standard and premium. So if you notice how I went about it, I came back here to Azure Key Vault because this one's more focused on Azure Key Vault. This one's focused on Key Vault secrets. So I'm going to go to a standard rather than a premium. So I have that done correctly. Key permissions, create, get. We're not really doing anything with keys, but we'll leave that the way it is right now. And then down here, we have our Azure RM Key Vault secret. So I'm going to call it VM, MKT, VM password. And then over here, I'm going to call it the same thing. And then value, I'm going to come over to my virtual machine, and I'm going to take this value and add it to it. And then for the Key Vault ID, I need to do .id. And then down here, I need to do a depends. And then I say Key Vault. So this is depending on the Key Vault needs to be created in order for me to go ahead and do that. So let's go and see if we get any errors or if there's something that we have missed out on this. Okay, it says 2 to add, 1 to change, so we're good. The 1 to change should be, let's see exactly what it is. Virtual machine will be updated in place. And then we are all set. So we're going to just click yes. Okay, so that is now completed, but I do want to point out something because there's 2 things I did forget. Well, one, I need to mention that when on my screen, if you're following along, on my screen it said 2 to add, 1 to change. So the reason why it's saying 1 to change for me, and it probably is not going to say that for you, I'm pretty sure it doesn't, is because if you're following along with the videos, the 1 to change that I have is because I changed my tenant secret. So I've been making these videos for you, but they're all not made within the same day. And what I'm doing just to make sure I secure my environment is that my tenant secret, right, in order for Terraform to work, that secret value, I've been having an expiration for like every 3 days, or sometimes I'll have it for every 2 days. So this way, when I push out these videos, I've had my secret shown before in some of the videos, but I want to make sure that that secret is invalid. So that's the reason why my one to change is there and yours is not there. Also, what we did here was we did Azure Key Vault, and then we did a Key Vault secret, right? So we did this Key Vault secret, and the password, right, for that secret is scholars123. But over here, we still have this admin password as scholars123. What we need to do is now say key vault, what's it, Azure RM key vault dot value. Azure Key Vault. Oh, wait. Dot. What do we have for our Key Vault value? So now if I click save, and then I come up here, down here, it should say one to modify. And I made a mistake. Azure RM Key Vault secret dot value. That's what I meant to put down there, because I put down value secret and there's no value here. So that's why I made a mistake. So sorry about that. All right. Now we should get one to modify. So it says one to change, exactly what I was talking about. And I'm going to click yes. We'll type yes. Okay. So let's run over to Terraform, let's run over to our Azure portal. So let's see exactly how our Key Vault looks. All right, so we have our Key Vault and our SKU is standard. We're gonna make sure we're gonna do premium. And what we're gonna do is we come over here, we're gonna go to access policies first. And you can see Terraform application is there. And remember what our code had was for keys, it said create and get. And then secrets, we had set get as well. Right, so if I wanted to add more information and more permissions, I could go to Key Vault and I can do something like list. And I'll click save and I'll click apply. Yes. So back over at the portal, let me refresh this. And you see now list is there as well. So let's go over our secrets and let's see what we have here. Now it's telling me I'm not authorized to view this because it's not giving me, I didn't give myself permission. So I'm just going to throw myself in here to get permissions. And I want to get everything for secrets, and I'll do keys too. So I have my information there, and I come back to secrets. I can now see the MKT VM password. That's what we called it in our code. MKT VM password. And if I click on that and I open that up and I show secret value, I have scholars123 $sign. But there is other things that we can do for this, because remember, we just moved the value of password from virtual machine to Key Vault. So what I want to show you is something that I think is pretty cool, so that we can use this. And then obviously we can also helps us with creating better passwords, is we're going to use a built-in code within Terraform, which is called the random password. So I'm going to go resource, random password, and I'm just going to call this VM password, VM gen password. And then here we have length. I'm going to give it, I don't know, 12 special. I'm going to do equals true. And well, let me show you exactly how it looks within the GitHub. Okay, so I'm going to put a link in to this website so that you can see it. But this is called the random password. So it's the random password is something that you can use to do random passwords for your Terraform code. So see resource, random password, and you call it whatever you want, and then you have options for your length. So length, number, the length of strings desired, the number value for length is 1, and the length must also be equals minimum upper plus minimum lower, minimum numeric, and special, right? So you have these optional values. So we can do minimum lower and say, okay, we want at least 2 minimum lowercase values. Then we have minimum numeric. We could have a bunch of, say how much numeric we want. We could do minimum special. We could minimum upper. Let's drop some minimum uppers in case here, uppercase. And we'll do 4 for that one. Let's do 3. And then we have numeric, include numeric characters in result. We can say true. And then we can also do override special. So it says supply your own list of special characters to use for string generation. This override the default character list in the special argument. And then special, we can say which is default to true. And then these are the special characters that you can have within it. So you can have a bunch of different things. You can mix and match. I'm just throwing some stuff in there just so you can get a better understanding of how that works. And then you have your override as well. So I think this should be fine for our generator. So once we have this minimum generator here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click save on that. And remember, our length is 12. And so for our value, we're going to change this up. We're not even going to have this as a value. We're going to do random password generator dot result. Right, because that's what it is. So let me jump back over. And I'm sorry to keep jumping back over, but I really want to explain it so you have a good understanding. So it says read only. It says result string sensitive to generated random string. So this is why we have result there. So you have an understanding of why that looks the way it looks. So now what we're going to do is we don't have the value to password in our code anymore. We're using the random password generator. So we're going to actually do update Terraform apply, and let's see. It says it's inconsistent and it wants me to do a init upgrade because I just added that random password block in there. So I need to do an init upgrade. Terraform init. Terraform init upgrade. Okay, so now I'm going to come over here after doing the upgrade and apply. Okay, so I jumped back over to the Azure portal. Terraform is still running right now, but you'll probably run into the same issue. So if I come here to keys or secrets, it's saying that you're not authorized to view this content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here to my access policies, click on my access policies again, do an edit really quickly, and I'll go next and save. And it's just going to update it. And then we're going to go to secrets again. And there we see our secret right there. And you see there was an old one that was there, and this is the current version. So I'm just going to click on that. And then if I go show secret, there we have our secret. So now we have a generated secret with, I think we put at least 4 uppercase, 2 lowercase, and we have some stuff there. So we could have had this secret with more values. Definitely in there. We can have thrown in some more stuff in there as well. So let's just do something such as key vault, and I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna say override special, and I'm just gonna say, because I want some more special stuff in my password, I'll kill this terminal. And I'll say Terraform apply. Okay, so back over at the Azure portal, we just did, we added the override special attribute in there. So I'm going to come back over here to our MKT passwords. You can see there's another version. This is the current one. Those are the 2 old ones. And click yes, and I'm going to go show secret. And if I go to show secret, you can see here, it did change the password. It didn't add any other special characters there, but you can play around with that special characters generator, and then you can provide any value that you want to provide for your secret value. So that wraps up our video. This is part 4 of the creating a virtual machine. Here we're going to be, which I showed you how to set up passwords, so that this way you can have your passwords encrypted so no one can see it within your code. So there was a lot covered within this series. Please, if you have any questions or anything like that, or any comments, please leave it in the comment section. I'd love to hear back from you all. Or is there something that you're trying to learn within Terraform, or something that you're trying to learn in the Azure portal? Please let me know as well. So if you haven't done so already, please smash that like and subscribe button. I really enjoy making these videos for you, and I will continue making more Terraform videos for you throughout the year. And I will start creating content around AWS as well. Yeah, so once again, my name is Kieran Tross. I want to thank you for watching this video. Here at Cloud Scholars, my goal is to get you from scholar to consultant, and of course, consultant to expert. Thank you, and see you next time.